This is Spears to the streets. Get down to the beat, or get beat down in the street.
I've seen some god-awful finishes in my lifetime as a spectator of pro wrestling, and Stratton versus Cargill for the U.S. title in Rida, of all places, can now be added to that list. First off, Cargill is still fresh off of losing the undisputed women's title, so who had the bright idea to book her to contend for one of the entry belts in WWE's women's division? No one is expecting Cargill to pursue any Grand Slam denotation. Furthermore, Cargill has a stable behind her. How b-fab, member of said stable, ended up taking the hardest bump in the match by being thrown into a podium by Chelsea Green, Jobber of the Year any given Sunday, is beyond me. Granted, this title match did have some phenomenal spots. Cargill did look dominant early on in the match, countering one suicided from Stratton by grabbing her midair and kneeing her back into the ring. One forearm also sent Stratton flying to the other side of the ropes and tumbling outside the scored circle. Overselling, maybe, but Stratton's ring IQ made up for the mismatch as she scouted Cargill's jaded and was able to counter the torture rack set up multiple times with some interesting results, including a stunner and a two-footed drop kick that landed right under Cargill's chin, demanding a receipt. That chokeslam with Spirited Taker behind it later in the match was close, but perhaps on a later date, Stratton will be paid back in full. Aside from Mitchin and b-fab's interference, Green and Flair sneaking in later to even the odds made for too many heads in the contest. Furthermore, Cargill snatching up Green into the ring was pure comedy. But as the match closed, Cargill's laser focus on Green, the title laying doormat in the corner, Flair, everything but her opponent, was absolutely ridiculous and made Cargill look more like a wild beast than champion material, let alone intelligent enough to run her own stable. Humorously enough, despite Mitchin and b-fab's presence in the ring posing such a threat, the only interferences that actually mattered came from the faces, especially given that cheap shot with the title set up courtesy of Charlotte Flair, who I could have swore was injured since Io Sky was booked for the finals of the Queen of the Ring match earlier in the evening. With the next Mania being held in Saudi Arabia and the dependence on oil reserves that selfish U.S. jingoists crave, Stratton's U.S. title retention in Rida translates to yet another stupid decision that the States has made in the Middle East, behind a long list in the annals of modern history.
This is Spears to the streets. Get down to the beat, or get beat down in the street.